Training for this half Ironman has been, I think, the hardest thing that I've done in my life. And it's not because any one particular day of training is hard. It's stringing day after day after day together over time. And it's like, it's figuring out the food and figuring out how to get more food into you while there's less time to eat because of increased training and more energy expenditure, so you gotta eat more food. Also figuring out sports nutrition, which is a totally different thing. And even though I've taken awesome supplements for years and years and years, race supplements are different, and you gotta have the right fuel for your glycogen stores at the right time, or you're hosed. And hosed means like your muscles can lock up while they're clipped into a bicycle, and then you tip over. So it's like dangerous, not just, oh gosh, I've had a bad day. And on race day, that might well mean that you can't finish. And honestly, that's what happened to me on my last race. It was a really hot day. It was in the hills of Claremont, which are really steep. And I was drinking plenty of water. In fact, I was a little overhydrated, but I wasn't getting the right sports nutrition into me at the right time. And so I wound up a little depleted and my muscles locked up. And it's hard to train for the hills when you live in the flatland. So I was a little undertrained for that. So this is a really big deal for me. And one thing that is overwhelmingly obvious to me at this point is how I could not possibly be doing any of this without the village. That it takes a village, like from the people who've shown up in my life, from my fantastic coach who's been not only the right information, but also the right style of training for me and the right type of encouragement, to my fantastic support staff at Longevity Wellness who have helped make it possible that I was able to leave the office on the days, at 5 o'clock to get to my trainings, to my sweetheart who's been stepped up with food whenever I need it. I can show up any time of day, no questions asked, and here's some food for you. My fantastic roommate who has been just wonderful encouragement and support. And this past week when I fell off the planet a little bit was also a little bit of life support, making sure that I was not, that I was doing my dishes. Okay, she did my dishes for me a few times this week. It's like that. It was like that. And each time that I hit a training day where I'm doing something that's harder than I've never done before, like last weekend when I did I test rode the route in Haines City, and holy crap, I wound up 20 miles off course, which apparently is not a difficult thing to do. Howdy, y'all. Hi. Hi. It's not a difficult thing to do because there are two roads that run parallel to each other that are both named 17. So if you're coming out for the race, it is the East 17. But my fantastic ending to that story, which is that my one of our training partners got back to the car early, came out to Winter Haven, which is where we landed, to pick us up in the middle of this cute St. Patrick's Day festival, and howdy, and we got to have a wonderful lunch together. So, sometimes God just has a little grace for you instead of 20 miles through grueling sun and construction dust and no roads. So really, really, really humbling. The other thing that I've really experienced through this is that, a lot of things that I thought I knew academically, and as my body has changed, I've had a lot of different time to experiment with. So understanding the physiology of branched chain amino acids and why they're so important to train with, understanding the physiology of the electrolytes and why they're absolutely vital, and how much hydration really is necessary. You know, like what I thought, even what I thought was enough, really wasn't in the climate that we live in. It's very easy to undertrain, but of course some more complicated things, mitochondrial repair techniques, that's been really cool. How some supplements that seem like they might be just the most fantastic thing in the world can be great for one part of your body, like they really increased my performance, but they were terrible for another part of my body, i.e. my kidneys. So when I started having to pee constantly, that was a good sign that things were not moving in the right direction. So like just lots of learning, but truly the most humbling has been, you know, how grateful I am for the support, and also like the difference between not working out and training for, you know, like training for a half Ironman, for example, is wildly different. Like the difference between going for a walk and training for a half Ironman is not as far away as sitting on your couch and going for a walk. Like exercise is amazingly fantastic for you, and when things start moving, they tend to want to keep moving. So even when times when my schedule has been tight and it was like, okay, I can only get 3/4 of my workout in, versus a couple times when I just wasn't able to get the workout in at all, like my conditioning was wildly different. So that's really been a great learning tool for me, and also very humbling. And just, wow, the amount of time, hardest thing I've ever done. So grateful for your support, for all the people that have been with me through this, either in person or in spirit. And of course, I haven't even mentioned my people who have been training with me, who are phenomenal individuals. Really see the character of the people that you train with, like Rick and Tracy and Toby and Chris and the folks that have shown up to just do some laps with me during this time, or slow down enough to train with me for a little bit, or speed up enough to train with me during recuperation. So yeah, it's pretty, I tell you what, there's nothing that makes me appreciate a glass of water or a dinner or a beautiful day like training. Because when you're working your butt off, you're just so grateful for the gifts, all of the little gifts. So there you go. There's my Haines City 70.3 half Ironman update. My race is on Sunday, April 14th. Thank you to everyone who's going to be showing up to support me. You have no idea how much that means unless you've done a race yourself. And like, it's just, sometimes you feel like you're just running on the good wishes of the people that are there cheering for you. So, all right, have a great Sunday.